Hey, before we dive in, I want to ask you something quick. Have you ever wondered why your Social Security check is the way it is? Like, are you getting enough? Is that new money actually yours to keep? Well, today we're talking about a brand new Social Security bill that just came out. And this one could mean that millions of Americans get to keep more of their money. Stick with me, because what I'm about to tell you might change how much you can get. And it's stuff most people don't know yet. And just so you know, I'm working on a full deep dive video about this bill, and you'll see it right after this one on the end screen. That video will go even deeper into how this change works. But first, let's break this down in plain English. So here's the situation. Right now, we've got a new Social Security bill floating through Congress that people are calling a big deal for retirees and families. And you might be asking, what exactly does this bill do? Well, imagine you're already getting Social Security. Maybe you're retired, or maybe you're planning for retirement. Right now, the way some benefits are taxed or calculated can actually reduce how much money you keep in your pocket. This new bill is trying to fix that, and that's why so many people are paying attention. But to understand it, we need to talk about the old rules first. Stick with me. It gets more interesting soon. Here's the first big point. The government has something called federal taxes on Social Security benefits. That means if you're getting Social Security and you make other money too, part of your Social Security check might be taxed by the federal government. Most retirees don't like taxes. They mean less money in your hands every month, and when you're living on a fixed income, every dollar counts. Now, the new bill, often referred to in news sources like SSA.gov and major financial sites, would end federal taxes on Social Security benefits for many people starting as soon as 2026. That's right. For lots of people, this isn't just future talk. It could happen soon. But how big of a change is this? Let's break it down. If you're one of the millions of retirees who had to pay tax on your benefits, this bill could mean you get to keep more money each month. That's not a small difference. That's real money that could help pay bills, groceries, medicine, rent, or even that vacation you've been dreaming about. But here's the catch. The bill isn't law yet. It's been introduced in Congress. That means it still has to go through votes, committees, and approval. So, is it guaranteed? Not yet. But it's more real than most people think. More on that in a moment. Now, let's talk about who this affects. Because not everyone gets Social Security the same way. For example, if you worked your whole life and paid into Social Security, good news, you get your retirement benefits like normal. But there are some groups of people who've historically lost part of their Social Security checks because of something called the Windfall Elimination Provision, WEP, and the Government Pension Offset, GPO. Sounds confusing, right? Basically, if you worked in a job that didn't pay Social Security taxes, like some teachers, police officers, firefighters, or government workers, you might get less Social Security even though you worked just as hard. That's always felt unfair to a lot of people. And a bill called the Social Security Fairness Act, which actually already became law, tried to fix that by removing WEP and GPO. And the government has already started sending extra money and correcting benefits for people affected by these old rules, some going back years. This means some retirees are getting more money now than they expected because the old penalty rules are being removed. But there's even more on the table, and that's where our upcoming bill comes in. Hang on, I'll explain how that connects in just a second. So, if part of this bill ends taxes on Social Security, and another part fixes old penalty rules like WEP and GPO, that's already a big deal. But believe it or not, some lawmakers want to go even further. There's another proposal called the Social Security Expansion Act. This one is meant to increase benefits overall and help strengthen Social Security so it lasts longer into the future. You see, Social Security has been around since the 1930s, and it's helped millions of Americans pay their bills in retirement. But because of budget pressures, inflation, and demographic changes, there are always debates about whether the system is strong enough for future retirees. The Expansion Act wants to not just protect benefits, but actually grow them over time. It's got support from some lawmakers, but like all legislation, it still has to cross political hurdles before becoming law. Policies and politics can be messy, and I'll be honest with you, that's one area where people get confused. That's why it's so important to follow the official Social Security Administration site at ssa.gov and check reputable news outlets if you want the real facts, not rumors. And I'll remind you again, I'm making a full video about the political side of the bill too. You'll see it next, and it goes deep into what lawmakers are saying. But back to the good stuff. Now let's talk about numbers, because that's the part that really matters to most people. This year, according to a press release on ssa.gov, Social Security beneficiaries are already seeing a 2.8% cost of living adjustment, COLA, for 2026. That means on average, people are getting about $56 more per month than they did last year. That might not sound like a huge amount to some people, but for others, it makes a real difference, especially when prices for food, gas, and medicine keep going up. And now imagine if you didn't pay federal tax on that extra $56, or if you got an even bigger benefit increase from a bill that expands Social Security further. That's where millions of Americans could get real extra money in their pockets. And here's another number that matters. Around 75 million people receive Social Security benefits in the U.S. That includes retirees, disabled workers, survivors, and spouses. That's a huge portion of the population. So when we're talking about changes that affect people's checks, we're not talking about a small group, we're talking about a lot of people. And that's exactly why you're seeing more attention from lawmakers, news outlets, and financial experts. But here's the part that often gets left out. Even though this bill could mean more money, there's still a big question mark about when it will actually become law. Bills don't just jump into action, they go through committees, votes in the House and Senate, and then the president has to sign them. And every stage has debates, changes, and sometimes delays. So if you're wondering, is this going to happen for sure? The honest answer is, we don't know yet. But it is moving, and it is real, and people are paying attention. And that's why I want to make sure you understand it before most Americans do. Because if this bill becomes law, your financial situation could change in a big way. And you deserve to know what that means in simple language, without confusing jargon. That's exactly what today's video is all about. But before we go further, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments. I love seeing where everyone is tuning in from. All right, let's get back to it. Now, another part of this bill that people are talking about is the Social Security Survivor Benefits Equity Act. Sounds like a mouthful, right? But here's what it means in simple terms. When someone who was receiving Social Security dies, their spouse or family might get a survivor benefit, like a one-time payment or a monthly amount. Right now, the one-time lump sum benefit is $255. That number hasn't changed in a long time, and in today's world, $255 doesn't go very far. The new proposal would raise that lump sum to something much fairer, based on inflation, cost of living, and the real value of money today. Some lawmakers are suggesting it go up to around $20,900, which is a huge jump. That change could make a big difference for families who lose a loved one. So if you've ever wondered why Social Security doesn't give a bigger death benefit, this bill is trying to fix that. And once again, it's another way that millions of people could keep more money or receive more support than they do today. Sounds like good news, right? But here's the part that most people don't think about. With all these proposals, ending taxes, expanding benefits, fixing penalties, increasing survivor support, there's a big conversation about how to pay for it. Because Social Security isn't just a simple program. It's funded by payroll taxes that workers and employers pay, and it has to stay financially healthy if it's going to keep paying benefits decades from now. So lawmakers who support these changes are also talking about different ways to strengthen the Social Security Trust Fund at the same time. Some want to raise the income cap that people pay taxes on. Right now, only income up to a certain amount gets taxed for Social Security, and earnings above that don't. If that cap goes up, the system could collect more money to support expanded benefits. Some lawmakers suggest adjusting retirement ages or benefit formulas too. None of these ideas are final, but the point is this. This bill isn't just about giving more money. It's also about making sure Social Security lasts for future generations. And that means there's a lot of debate behind the scenes. More on that in the upcoming video. You'll see it right after this one. Now let's pause for a second and talk about something important. Why does any of this matter to you? Because if you're not retired yet, if you're 30, 40, 50, or even younger, you might think Social Security is something you'll deal with later. But here's the truth. Decisions made today affect what you'll get tomorrow. If this bill passes, it could change how much your future check looks like. It could also affect how quickly you can retire, how much tax you pay, and how your family benefits if something happens to you. That's why it's so important to understand this now, while there's still time to plan. And that's also why I'm spending so much time explaining it clearly without confusing jargon or technical talk. You deserve information that's easy to follow, and that's what we're doing here. Okay, time for a quick recap so far. There's a new Social Security bill that could mean millions keep more money. It might end federal taxes on Social Security benefits for many people. It builds on recent changes that removed old penalties like WEP and GPO. Other proposals could raise survivor benefits and expand overall benefits. None of it is law yet, but it's actively being discussed in Congress. And remember, official information is available on sites like SSA.gov, and you can verify all of this yourself if you want. For full details, I've added the official links in the video description so you can visit those websites and check it out yourself. Now, one thing a lot of people worry about is this. If Social Security is going to pay more, how do we know it won't run out of money? That's a fair question, and it comes up every time benefit changes are discussed. Here's the simple answer. Social Security is not going bankrupt tomorrow. It has a trust fund, like a big savings account, that's been built up over generations of workers. But because people are living longer, birth rates have changed, and the economy shifts over time, the trust fund is projected to face challenges decades from now unless changes are made. So these new bills are trying to strengthen the system while also helping people now. It's kind of like fixing a leaky roof before it gets worse. You prep for the future while you take care of today's problems. And lawmakers are debating different ways to do that, raising the income cap for Social Security taxes, adjusting benefit formulas, and making sure more money comes in while benefits are fair. It's complicated, but at the heart of it, the goal is simple. Keep Social Security strong and fair for as many people as possible, and that's why these discussions matter to you, even if you're decades away from retirement. Now, before we wrap up, I want to talk about one last thing that often gets overlooked. Communication and customer service at Social Security. A lot of people have complained about long phone wait times, slow service, and difficulty getting answers. Recently, the U.S. House passed a bill to boost the budget for Social Security customer service, about $50 million to improve phone lines, wait times, and field office support. This isn't glamorous, but it's practical. Because if you're trying to get answers about your benefits, you want to talk to a real person without hours on hold. Improvements like this might not make headlines, but they sure make a difference in people's lives. And it shows that lawmakers are paying attention to real issues people face, not just big policy headlines. All right, let's bring this all home. You've just learned about a brand new Social Security bill that could affect millions of Americans by helping them keep more of their benefits. We talked about ending federal taxes on Social Security, fixing old penalties that cut benefits, expanding survivor benefits, strengthening the system for the future, and the practical changes that make the system easier to use. This isn't abstract stuff. It's about your money, your retirement, and your family's future. If this helped you, go ahead and hit the like button. It lets me know you want more videos like this. And for clear and simple updates like this one, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Oh, and before you go, remember I mentioned a full video deep dive that's coming up? You'll see it right after this one on the end screen. It goes into even more detail about how the bill works, what the timelines look like, and what lawmakers are saying. So don't miss that. It'll be right next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you over on the next video.